Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, this time coming in with a video on a series that, well, is really new. We haven't really talked about it on the channel, but here we are. Ideally, I want to get through a lot of the new entries in Shonen Jump. So for right now, we're just going to start with Hello Warden Higuma. It's not called Hello Warden Higuma. I'm just saying hello because you could understand that taking out that O probably means this video would not even see the light of day. Anyway, Hello Warden Higuma. This video is going to be a very quick impression type video, and then just a very quick chat about the most recent chapter, chapter 6. If at any point you guys want to check out this series, I highly recommend just going to viz.com/Shonen Jump. You can find it on there. Right now, the first 6 chapters are available for absolutely free, no strings attached if you catch this video on the week of February 6th. I gotta tell you guys about Shonen Jump's thing right now because an official company is giving their content away for free, and then a paywall if you want to get older content. This is good stuff for the community. We have to support this because otherwise they're gonna stop doing this and we're gonna lose out on free content without the risk of viruses. Okay, cool. So Hello Warden Higuma. It is a new supernatural series from Shonen Jump. It features a main character named Higuma who is a Hello Warden. He has to go around and capture fugitive spirits and return them to the afterlife. These spirits escaped 400 years ago, and Higuma is part of a clan that has to go around capturing them. As you can guess, it is a supernatural type series. Now, because it is a new series, we always have to play that game, you know, is it going to actually survive? Is it going to make it through? Is it going to be cancelled? And for this little first part of the video, I just want to give my quick thoughts on whether or not I think this series is going to do well in Shonen Jump. And I guess where I should start with this part of the video is pretty much, I think this series would have done better, or would have been more suited to the magazine that runs Fairy Tail and the 7 Deadly Sins, specifically Shonen Magazine. The reason I say that is because of the structure that Higuma uses with its 2 main characters. Now, Higuma is the main character of this story, but along with him is the main female character, Ayaha. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ayaha Kuromine, maybe? Maybe that's how you pronounce it? Anyway, Ayaha, she's like the main female character, and the thing is, she also kind of serves as a point of view character. Higuma shows up first in the manga, but like 1 page after, she's right there with him, and she has a bit more personality than Higuma in the beginning. She makes herself more known, I guess, in other words. So the reason I say this would make it so that this series would be better suited in Shonen Magazine is because Shonen Jump does not have a very good track record of having series that have 2 main characters, specifically with this dynamic, do well. A lot of the Shonen Jump series are specifically series about underdogs. And those underdogs are usually by themselves. They are not supported along by a main female character. Fairy Tail had the Natsu Lucy duo, and the 7 Deadly Sins started off with the Meliodas Elizabeth duo. That's the first reason why I think it would do better in Shonen Magazine. The second reason is that traditionally, overpowered characters don't do well in Shonen Jump when they start the story off being overpowered or competent. And that is the case with Higuma. Higuma starts this series already knowing what he has to do. He already has power. He's already doing his job. He's already beating people. He already has a wide array of powers. Traditionally, that type of setup doesn't really work in Shonen Jump. And if we were to look at the current Shonen Jump lineup, allow me to recite to you the current battle shonen. We have One Piece, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Kimetsu no Yaiba, and then ignoring the most recently new series, yeah, those are the big prominent battle shonen. Now, in all 5 of those series, aside from One Piece, and One Piece is one of the biggest outliers, but it's also like the oldest series here, all those characters effectively started from nothing. The most impressive of the characters in those 5 series that we just talked about was maybe Asta from Black Clover, who started the story out being insanely strong, but by his world's metrics, insanely weak. And that's the problem with Higuma compared to these other series. Trends have shown that it seems that the Shonen Jump readership enjoys starting off with characters who are weak and then become strong. For instance, we already covered Black Clover. Asta starts off not having magic, and then he gains a new way of fighting. Hero Academia, Izuku starts off the story by crying in front of All Might and being told that he can actually be a hero, so we get to see his rise in power. Next up, Jujutsu Kaisen. That story starts off with our hero just being a normal guy who's a good person, and then he just happens to run into power. Next up, Kimetsu no Yaiba. That kid started off insanely weak and had to go through years of training before he could even stand to take out the weakest of enemies. And One Piece, well, like I said, One Piece is a bit of an exception here. It's also the oldest, but Luffy, One Piece, he started off very weak. He had some power, but he started off weak. We saw him kind of grow. The point is, people like seeing characters grow. Higuma doesn't really give that kind of reaction for readers here. Instead, he matches more to Natsu and Meliodas from Shonen Magazine. Natsu started off the story being reasonably strong, but Meliodas started off the story being even stronger, and those two series have done relatively well. It's a different dynamic. Next problem is, in terms of their characters, Higuma has come into the story more or less developed. Like right now, Higuma's thing is that he doesn't really have that much of a loud personality. Like, it's a more subdued, calm personality, and I personally really like that character archetype. But unfortunately, I don't think that archetype really works. I think for the Shonen Jump readership, a lot of times they want more passionate characters. And just to kind of talk about Higuma's character a little bit more, it doesn't really mean that there's a problem with Higuma's character itself in the writing, because the author points out through the writing that Higuma's relative lack of a personality is planned. Like, that is kind of a character flaw that Higuma has to learn to get angry for others. He has to feel rage. There was a little point in the first chapter. So the author establishes that he knows what he's doing with the character, but that lack of personality, even though it's intended, does seem, I think at least, I think it would be something that would get in the way of Hello Warden Higuma's popularity. Now, if you go and match it back to Fairy Tail and Seven Deadly Sins, Meliodas starts off very chill. You don't really get to see him angry until a few chapters later. He starts off the game being very happy-go-lucky. Natsu's also very happy-go-lucky in general, and he doesn't really develop all that much that quickly. He just kind of keeps being happy-go-lucky. He's someone who gets angry for people. Natsu is an example of proper use of anger to get people hyped, and we still do not know if Higuma will be able to kind of match that level. Regardless, we've covered the main character dynamics, the dynamic of the main guy and the main girl, and how they're featured in the story. We covered the power structure, and we covered the general personality of the main character. Overall, those three elements are elements just by seeing the past of Shonen Jump, I don't think these elements work really well with the Shonen Jump readership. I think this series is probably going to be cancelled, and if I was to say when it's going to be cancelled, I would say around chapter 70. You might be thinking, hey, why did you give it such a big estimate? And the reason is, for these kind of series, for the battle shonen, that's kind of where you're looking at. The big series that I'm looking at as a reference point for this is Magico. It had a similar character who came in there who was relatively stoic, and also had a main female character who was a big point of view character, and also had a character in the main character that had a lot of power from the get-go. So looking at that series, yeah, that's kind of the trajectory that I would see for Hello Warden Higuma, unless it is really able to reinvent or really reinvigorate the current Shonen Jump audience. The next big problem is that Higuma is coming in with a surge of the Supernatural series. Recently, Supernatural has really been taking over. For instance, we have right now Kimetsu no Yaiba and Jujutsu Kaisen, two series that have become really popular and are all about fighting supernatural monsters. Not only that, along with Higuma, we had Chainsaw Man, which is a more gritty, more gory variation of supernatural demon slaying. So because it's already coming into an oversaturated niche within Shonen Jump, it doesn't have the same potential as, say, something like Dr. Stone of doing well, because Dr. Stone and even Promised Neverland are both kind of different genres, so they can flourish in other ways, whereas Higuma is coming in as a battle shonen. It's going to have a really tough time trying to break through not only Jujutsu Kaisen and Kimetsu no Yaiba, but also My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and One Piece. And most likely it's going to be relegated to the bottom after the current weak series are removed. So those are my general impressions. Kind of 13 minutes there. Apologies for taking so long. Moving on though. This week's chapter of Hello Warden. Oh no, I said it. This week's chapter of Hello Warden. It was pretty nice. It's still trying to do a lot because we had two different plots within this one chapter. One was the finishing of a demon, and the second was the start of, well, I guess maybe an exposition, because Higuma is meeting up with King Enma to talk about their prisoner capture. It was overall an interesting chapter. You can still tell that we're still in those introductory phases because the author does want to establish some things, and he's not wasting time, in other words. Like, he really needs to establish that Higuma is worth following. And overall, like, it was a cool chapter. We had a nice, strong, sentimental bit at the very beginning with Kobata and them revealing what this kid was about. And then we had the nice little like sequence in the other world, which just kind of shows off some of the cosmology within this within the show, or sorry, within the series. Overall, I think this was a cool chapter. I like what they're trying to establish in terms of like just some of the general philosophy about people's lives still having merit even if their lives are about to be cut short. We had talk about the kid spending time with his grandfather and how he just met Higuma. Overall, I think the author did a pretty good job here with an emotional conclusion to this whole old people having their lives sucked out. Now, I'm gonna keep this really short because I have to kind of go, but expect well, this was a kind of simple chapter, but yeah. For people who want to see Higuma covered more, I'm not sure how often I'll be able to do it. It'll just be like when I have the time. I'll kind of do it throughout the week, and you guys can come in and check it out if you want to. Anyway, that's it for me for now. I hope you have an absolutely great day.